fairly brief agenda this evening. I don't think we need to approve the minutes, do we? I think we just need to take the minutes. Is that correct?
Well, I emailed those minutes to the board just so you could approve them, so we have record of it, of the prior meetings, and then I can take minutes for this meeting that we'll approve next fall.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so really, uh, uh, we're delighted that all of you could join us. And our agenda this evening is just kind of hear how you're doing, how you're doing mentally and emotionally, how you're doing educationally, maybe how we're doing educationally. And then we have a couple questions a little bit later on about whether the underclassmen would like to be on the advisory council again next year. And then just kind of a back and forth. So that is the agenda in its entirety. And maybe if there are any students that want to start us out, and obviously if you have questions, you're welcome to ask questions too. But otherwise, we'll just say the first question here is, how is extended campus learning going?
I guess I could talk. For me, I think it's been going pretty well. I'm a senior, so I'm not taking as many classes as other people in the other students in here, but all my teachers have been really on top of sending things out and being very thoughtful of the situation that we're in terms of grading and things like that. And yeah, no hiccups so far for me.
Okay, good to hear. Who else would like?
I'll cut in. I've had a good experience so far. I haven't really had any complaints. It's been pretty similar to regular school because I send out stuff in the morning. I wake up early and I get it done. So it's been pretty standard as far as I feel like I've gotten the same education I would have had I been in school, pretty much, at least. So that's been good.
I feel like it's been good for me too. I have gotten everything I've needed to get done, and for classes where we still have to take AP tests, I feel like we've gotten much needed review out of this time, so that's been good.
But it's kind of the same for me too, because I'm just grateful because all my teachers are really flexible with like when things are due. So I haven't really had any problems. I just get everything done and it's really easy, like working with class Blackboard. So it's been good.
Good.
Times like this just make me really thankful for the time that I did get at Westside High School because I'm also a senior, so it's my last like official week. So I'm just really thankful for all the time that I did get, and I'm like grateful to all my teachers and to you guys for everything. So I'm just trying to think on the like positive side of everything, but everything's been pretty good. I actually feel like I have a lot of assignments, but it keeps me busy during the day, so it's a good filler of my time because I kind of have a lot of it now.
I think Westside just like having laptops made the transition a lot easier, especially compared to other schools who had to try to get technology out to their students. And overall, it's been pretty good. I mean, I have no complaints.
Sure. How much work has everybody had on a daily basis? How long have you been spending on school or on study time?
I feel like for
No,
me,
go ahead, Jack.
okay, I feel like for me, it's definitely varied from class to class. I feel like some of the classes that I take, I really don't have anything that I have to do, and then other classes, it's normal compared to what we would do at school. So it's just balancing out those and making sure that I'm improving in all my classes so that I can remember this stuff for next year.
Makes sense. I had about the same. I had like I wake up and I get it done, but it's probably a few hours. It's about what I would have had when I get home. Like it's probably 4 or 5 hours of work for different classes. Some have more than others, but it's kind of just managing it and getting it done.
I agree with what they said. I think I had a paper for AP Lit last week, so that was a little more time than uh, some of my other classes, but it would have been the same as if we were in school. So not a huge change.
For me, I feel kind of like I have less work. 'Cause I feel like none of my teachers have hand assignments and stuff, so that'll be easier for us. So I'm like feel like I'm spending less time on school.
Anybody else?
I definitely think I'm spending less time on school. Um, but I also think that the things that we're given in assignments is a lot of them are more meaningful, I would say. Like the teachers are definitely starting to cut off the fat in their classes and just giving us the work that matters.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Um, so let's play this hypothetical game, which I sure hope doesn't come to pass, but it may. What if we have to incorporate extended learning in some capacity in the fall? Are there things that we should try to do differently, or things that really just don't translate very well electronically?
Um, I it's a little bit of a question and a I don't know statement. But I think I got something from one teacher about how, or maybe my mom told me. I can't remember. I'm sorry. This might not be helpful, but that we weren't supposed to get assignments. Like Monday was teachers' plan days, and then we would get assignments Tuesday through Friday. I think I don't know. I heard that somewhere. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but um, some teachers would follow that, and some teachers wouldn't, or it was just kind of up to teacher interpretation or depending on the teacher, I would, and you learn that stuff throughout like the few weeks that we've been at home, like what teacher will send something every day or what teacher will do what. So it'd be a little confusing for some teachers. Like I would have this class only on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but then we didn't have class on Wednesday, but they were giving us assignments Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so more than we were actually having. So I would have maybe appreciated more uniform, or sometimes I would get assignments on Monday of expectations in that way, and I won't be here in the fall, so I guess it doesn't really matter what I think, but I would have appreciated that because I would still wake up on a day like today and like get on my planner, write everything down because I would get assignments. Like I did have a few assignments to do today. So more clarification on this is the teacher plan day and students don't have school this day, or maybe that won't continue in the fall, but more, I don't know, clarification on stuff like that.
Sure, that makes sense. Anybody else?
I think I would just add to Hannah Kate's point that we're dealing with the same things in Millard, and how fast we had to transition into this did not allow for a lot of uniformity. Like I think launching the learning was the priority versus alignment, like vertical or otherwise. And I know that those conversations are happening right now in these kind of plan B, plan C scenarios where, yes, I mean, like you would hope that the goal would be if Monday is the work day. I mean, that would be my hope. I don't know if Dr. Lucas feels differently, but given the time to end the year and open the year and a summer in between there, we should be more streamlined if it's necessary to do this.
Yeah. And I appreciate Hannah, Kate, and all the student feedback because, we're preparing for all kind of scenarios next year, and that may be extended campus learning again, and we know it'll have to look at different. We want to take what's worked so far in March and April, make it better for November, whatever it is next year. So appreciate the feedback for sure.
The only thing I would have to add is for any classes that want to do something like this with a live stream is to coordinate, because I know I've had a few overlapping things where I had to prioritize, and I don't know, not that my specific example had too many problems, but for other students who might need both of these, need to attend both of the live streams.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Anybody else, board members, have any questions, or any students have any questions or more items they want to volunteer? And if not, we can move on to the next question. But why don't I give everyone just 5-10 seconds here to see if they want to revisit any of these issues or ask additional questions along these lines.
I just want to make a quick comment to the students, because you're all wonderful people who are positive in your outlook of our current circumstances. And well, I think that's wonderful. It is really okay to acknowledge this is not ideal, particularly for the seniors. There is some sadness around this. You are certainly missing out on events that would be big in your life. And while it's lovely of you to take that positive attitude, I acknowledge that you may not always feel that way, and it is okay to not feel that way.
Talking to folks at Nebraska Loves Public Schools today, and something that we try to make sure our students understand, however you feel, you're not wrong. And this is kind of from looking at it from the superintendent's position. I mean, we're in week 7 and we're in the full range of emotions, anger, sadness. It's like it's grief, and for many people, I mean, it's literally um, it's kind of like a death in the family to some extent, in some situations. For some, it's relief. For some, it's no big deal. I didn't want to go to prom anyway, So there's the full range of situations out there, but we're proud of what our students, our staff, and our families are doing, and we know it's been a load for everybody. But we've been trying to keep out on our social media pages those numbers about it's okay not to be okay. And so students, especially as you interact with your classmates and friends on social media and different things, make sure you refer people to those numbers if they need to talk to somebody, because it can change a lot of. Heck, I've gone through anger, sadness, and anxiety like in the same day. Sometimes it's just like Nebraska weather.
And hope and joy too.
Yeah, and hope and joy. Yeah. So there's no wrong way to feel, but super proud of how all of our students have handled it. And the class of 2020 has been amazing. I said earlier today on that broadcast that I'm the class of 1990, and we wouldn't have handled it nearly as well as the class of 2020. You guys have been amazing, and that's why we put on your yard signs, the best is yet to come, because even if we were in school, even if we never heard of the coronavirus, we never found out about COVID-19, we still don't want high school graduation to be the highlight of your life, right? I mean, it's important, it's big, but this is Westside. You're going to be Westside grads. There's much bigger things that are going to happen in your life than graduating from Westside High, although we're very proud of that.
Well, on behalf of all class of 2020 people, we're really thankful for every step that you guys have taken to make us feel appreciated and heard. At least I appreciate it. So thank you for everything. And I totally understand what you're all saying about. I feel all the emotions on a daily basis. I feel so grateful for all the time I had, and then I'm sad that I'm missing all of these things. But mostly just a love for Westside and all the emotions. So thank you.
Good. So, thank you, Hannah Kate. Uh, let's maybe move on and just sort of ask, maybe take a temperature check of everybody here. Maybe just talk a little bit about the mental and emotional dynamics of current situation and of extended learning and anything else if anyone wants to volunteer. Um, I'd be happy to lead off. Um, I'm really proud of students and staff because I think, this all came on very quickly. Everyone had to adapt almost instantly, and folks have been just awesome. And they came up with a plan quickly. We got good, valuable feedback quickly from students, from parents, from teachers, from administration, and that's been really gratifying. Um, it's hard having everybody at home all the time. And I think it's hard, for instance, on my kids. It's certainly hard on my spouse. All of a sudden everybody's living in a very contained area. But what I would say is we feel really fortunate because circumstances could be much worse and probably are much worse for a lot of people. And so um, that's that's kind of what's going on in my neck of the woods. But if anyone else wants to talk about their experience, we'd love to hear it.
I've had a pretty good COVID-19 break. I've called it coronacation a few times. I feel like that's a good term. But I've had a good one so far. I have been doing a podcast for Wired. So this is my little plug for that Pandemic Cast on the site. And it's been kind of cool because I've been able to hear a lot of different perspectives from people like during this really weird period that no one has really before. So that's been really kind of eye-opening. And I feel really bad for all the members of the 2020 senior class. So my heart's go out to you guys. I feel really bad. But I feel like you guys have done a really good job of kind of accommodating for their really strange senior year that hopefully, I don't know, we'll have fixed by next year, but it is a really strange situation.
So, so that's great. What are some of the more interesting perspectives that you've heard while doing the podcast?
I've done 3 episodes so far. I did one with the owner of Village Grinder, so that was kind of interesting to hear her story of trying to have business during the pandemic and how it kind of changed. Because at the beginning, it was mostly kind of paranoia and not really knowing what was going on. Kind of done different renovations store and stuff like that. And then also a lot of students have been doing projects over it, pandemic projects people have been doing and stuff like that. Like Malia Batafarano did a oh my gosh, what was a quarantine letter chain where she was like sending positivity through chains of letters to people where it's like when you get this letter, send one to someone else. So that's like a super cool thing to kind of highlight that not a lot of people had heard of. So just kind of a lot of different stuff. It's been super cool to talk to people about.
That's great. You're gonna have to send the board a link to your
Link. Okay,
we-
cool.
we'd
If I
love
can
to.
get any extra views, that's awesome. So this works out, guys. Like the podcast.
Good. Who else?
Um, it's been pretty good. I've definitely missed my baseball season. I felt like we had a pretty good team at all three levels in the program, and I really wish that I could have played this spring. But I feel even worse for the 12 seniors on our team that I really think they were going to take home a state championship this year. And I'm hoping that somehow baseball can resume at some point this summer. But just have to wait and see on that. Other than that, it's been all right. I've been managing, and hopefully it ends soon.
Well, yes, it would be nice to get baseball back for sure.
I'm just
Gonna, oh, go ahead. I was
You
just gonna say
can
real quick, it's so nice to hear your stories right now because I only hear my two kids, so I don't really know how everyone else is feeling. And I'm looking at a lot of us here were supposed to be in Chicago in March. And Jack, I was thinking of you too. I have a baseball son, and to watch those things be taken away in March was so horrible. And it's interesting to see where we are now. Like, I'm just now grateful. You know, you start to see the silver linings that come out of this. I'm still pining for a baseball season too. But there's something in me too where it's an interesting life experience, and I try to be thankful for it and find the positive. But like some of you talked about, there's days where I go and hit a dark ditch and I'm so mad and frustrated. And then, oh, this is so nice. I get to have lunch with my kids and they're doing okay. So it's interesting. And I'm so glad you guys are sharing. So please keep going.
I was just gonna say, I'm really enjoying usually, like you were saying, like we would have been in Chicago for a weekend, and so I'm missing like all those things. But every day I was at school from like 6:30 in the morning until like 8 or 9 at night, depending on the day, for different activities. So it's kind of nice. I have just abundance of free time now that I spend with my family. Like I don't know that we have done this many consecutive family dinners ever because we're all out and about doing stuff. So it's been really nice, and we like go. I I went to Loveland, and it's like a block away from me, so we bike to Loveland probably every other day, and so it's been really nice to have family time. But now I'm looking more towards the future and going on to my next step. So I'm like, okay, I will stay home in April. I'll stay home in May. I'll stay home until July if it means that I get to go to school in the fall. So that's what I'm holding on to. Staying home now to be out later.
I think there's a lot of bargaining going on. I know there is at my house that if we do these things, follow these rules, abide by these restrictions, then we're going to get to resume normal life, the normal things that students do, and I think you almost need that assurance in your own mind that all the sacrifice is going to be it's limited in time, and hopefully it's just a small blip in your in the long life of the long story of all your lives. So, but it feels like this has been going on 6 months. I don't know how everybody else feels, but it's only been a few weeks, and it certainly doesn't feel that way. So, uh, perspective is everything, I think.
Yeah, I've been having a pretty fine time. I'm grateful for the time I get to spend with my family, and even though I miss my friends, I've been finding projects to work on, and it's given me time to look at colleges, even a little early, but and it's just kind of cool to think about the fact that we're living through history, and I'm gonna tell my kids about this, and it's gonna be crazy. And I hope everyone is journaling and I don't know, somehow remembering the weird, crazy time we are living through.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any good projects that you've been able to go tackle?
Well, I my brother was really into Legos when he was little, and so I've been getting out his Legos and just messing around a lot.
Outstanding.
Everything for me, honestly, has been really easy, I guess. But personally, I'm grateful that I'm a sophomore and not a senior this year because I feel like it's the best grade. So I definitely feel bad for the seniors. And I did miss out on a soccer season this year that I was really excited about because I thought it'd be really fun. But besides that, everything for me has been pretty good. And I've just been enjoying time with my family and just, I guess, staying home and just doing fun things there.
I just want to say I appreciate your feedback because it's like Megan, I only hear from my kids and my kids are in elementary school. So I see that side of it. I don't see the interaction with the high school kids. So it's really good to hear your feedback and that there are some positive things to it. We all focus on the negative and trying to make it as good as possible for everyone. And there is a lot of negative to it, but there are some positive things too. And it's nice to hear you all focusing on that. And it is nice to spend a little more time with our families and we are lucky that we have the technology to be able to continue schooling without too much of a blip. But thank you guys for trying to see the positive side of it and for being on this committee and giving us your feedback and your time. We've appreciated it and it's been helpful. Hang in there.
Anybody else want to talk about what's going on? And if not, we can proceed to open-ended Q&A. And then on the agenda was, do our underclassmen have a desire to do this council again next year? And hopefully go tackle some of those things that we were getting started on, but we didn't quite get to finish this year.
I have one last thing, and I think it's wonderful that what I've been seeing from various parents on social media is their growing appreciation for teachers and public education, and hopefully that'll manifest into something great in the future.
Never quite as easy as it looks. So I know we've got a couple seniors here at least, and we're really grateful for the time that you gave to us this year, and thank you. And maybe we'll try and convene one more time. Maybe we won't. Obviously, our doors are always open. For those of you who are sophomores and juniors, is this the sort of thing you'd be interested in doing next year? And if it were, or even if it weren't, do you have any suggestions as to how we might make this more effective for students or for the district?
I'd definitely be interested in doing it again. We could start earlier because I know we didn't start until January. If we could start at the beginning of the year, hopefully, if we're in school by then, we can start at the beginning of the year and get the word out to people and ask them to submit applications maybe at the end of August or something, let them get settled, and then send out applications and start maybe in September and continue with the one Monday a month throughout the whole year like we did this year.
Yes, that would certainly be our intent, is to try and get a full year's worth of student advisory board meetings together.
I have a question on that, and then for anyone, like, how do we help reach out? Because it seems like you guys are super engaged students and are like doing really well academically, which I celebrate and I welcome that. But how do we increase also students who maybe this would be their first time, like being in a leadership role, or even thinking about some of the different groups of students? Like, how do we, and I don't know if you guys are all friends normally outside of this or not, but how do we also help people who wouldn't normally be interested in this take advantage of this opportunity?
I'm not 100% sure how this would work, but maybe even if service hours were involved with this, I don't know how many you'd get, but that could encourage people that wouldn't necessarily join this to join, just because Westside doesn't have a service hour requirement. So if you were like, oh, you get 12 hours by the end of the year, maybe that would encourage more people to join to do this type of thing in the future. But I feel like to kind of to piggyback off of what Jack said, I feel like this year was great, but I would like to see this continue on with more different perspectives, just because I feel like if we can hear a lot of different voices, it'd be better for the committee as a whole. So I feel like that's one more thing maybe for next year we should consider.
I agree. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I agree with both Will and Jack, and I would love to be a part of this next year. The only thing I would suggest is some mode of communication with the rest of the school. And I know we're supposed to be that link, but maybe we could also do something through the journalism program to tell them what we're talking about. Because I know we got some crap for not telling people about the iPads, even though that's not what happened. And yeah, that's my only.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so I was going to say, and that's perfect that you bring that up. I might like to see, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but on the off meeting from when we meet with student advisory, if one of you would volunteer to come in and make like a quick 3-minute presentation to the board about what we discussed in the previous meeting, just so people that are attending the meetings, like, I mean, if we're generating some kind of dialogue about what we're doing, because I don't know that we're going to drive a lot of people into the meeting if they don't know about the meeting and what we're talking about. And it doesn't have to be some elaborate thing. There doesn't have to be a PowerPoint, but if one of you would pop into that, public comment time or that time at the beginning of meetings and say, last month at student advisory, we talked about recycling, or we talked about ideas that we had around remote learning or whatever. I'm just spitballing, but
I feel like that's a great idea, just to get kind of the word out about this whole thing, just so more people know about it. So I don't know if anyone else is super interested in that, but I would totally volunteer to just be like, okay, we talked about this last month. Here is a brief summary of it. Here was some student reaction, and then I don't know, see what people, how they react.
What about if we made like a video, like with students and the Board of Education, and like put it out there and did something fun like that? Would that help get people interested and think we're okay to hang out with?
What if we did a podcast? Do I know how to do those?
I can get you guys hooked up. We can figure something out. We can try it.
I bet Will could help us.
I can help you out. Hannah Kate, I know she's graduating, but I don't know a ton about video. If we want to do a video, Hannah Kate's the person to ask.
She can help us before she leaves town, like, right?
Okay. We'll pre-record all the next 12 student advisory committee meetings. We're good.
Sounds good. I have a lot of time on my hands right now.
So yeah, I'm definitely interested in doing this again because I've enjoyed, I guess, seeing behind the scenes and seeing how much the board does to make Westside a good place. And I agree with starting earlier and getting the word out earlier. And then another thing is maybe having 2 meetings a month, and we could do like one meeting in person, and then if we needed to do another like WebEx meeting, just so we could bring more ideas to Westside. Because I feel like this year we definitely did focus on bringing ideas, but I guess want to make Westside even better. So maybe having another time where we could all talk and bring more ideas.
Dr. Lucas, would it be possible to do at least one of these meetings at Westside, like as a public meeting posted, but where it was immediately after school, or even, I don't know what time that would be, but it would be on campus for them and they could recruit their friends to come and sit in and watch what they're doing?
Absolutely. I mean, you could parlay it into a First Friday feedback. You could have it be its own thing on a Wednesday. Whatever. We're flexible. We'd love to do anything like that. Open to any ideas.
Maybe the Board of Education needs to be at the club and have like a booth where people can come talk to us about being involved in this.
Whatever works to get students interested in it, because it benefits us a lot. I mean, that's why we want to hear student perspectives and ideas, and that's how we really need that. And so we'll come anywhere, anytime, if students are there, if it's of interest to students. So that's a great idea, Dana.
I think all of those are really good ideas because I know the board is kind of a scary term to some people because it's like this all-seeing being in high school because you don't really see them on a daily basis, but you know they're there and making a lot of important decisions. So some video, with all of us in it to show that you guys aren't very scary, might encourage people to apply.
We could also look at the calendar because I always appreciated when we did the board meeting prior to the art show, when we had the art show at the West Campus. So you could get people, you could generate some foot traffic of people that were already going to be there for another reason. Like if there were something like that where we could do a remote meeting with all of you, and then, back to school night, or then, yeah, I mean, not like anything could happen that fast, but we should look at some potential dates for that because if you take the meeting off site, but to a place where people will be, you can drive a little bit more interest to it.
Yes.
Yeah, those are great ideas. Thank you. That's awesome. So that kind of concludes our formal agenda. Is there anyone that didn't get a shot to discuss something they want to discuss, or any questions or thoughts that anyone has for the board or for the students?
I have a question for the two seniors. Just wondering what your plans are for next year.
Hannah Kate, do you want to go or want me to?
You can go, Josh. You
All right.
can.
I'm going to Michigan next year,
Oh, great.
studying engineering.
Cool. Our board president went to Michigan. Good job.
Great.
Congratulations, absolutely.
I'm not going as far away as Josh is. I'm going to Lincoln, and I'm going to study broadcasting and add PR.
Outstanding.
Communication school there.
I want to give a shout out to Josh and Hannah Kate. So amazing, amazing young people, student leaders. So I reached out to Josh a couple weeks ago and asked him if he could help me make, or not help me make, if he could make and send me some gifts that have like the Westside Warrior that says Westside and the graduation hat and all that. And Josh did it in a couple days, which was amazing. So I gave him a little gift card, and a note thanking him. And Josh donated that gift card to the food pantry at Westside, which is unbelievable. When I was a senior in high school, if somebody would have given me a gift card, I would have spent that on me. And so for Josh to do that says a lot about his character and maturity. So really appreciate him and excited about his future. And then Hannah Kate is the first Westside Warrior student that I got to know. She was on the interview committee. And then last April or May, she reached out to me when I was in York because she was trying to get some exposure to help her get to New York City, which she did. And then Hannah Kate has become somebody I've relied on all year. She helped with our snow day videos, which everybody loved, and just an amazing person. So it is very easy to sit here on April 27, 2020 and predict how awesome and amazing and successful Josh and Hannah Kate are going to be in the next 10, 20, 40 years. So thank you both.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts, or if not, we will adjourn, and hopefully we all get to do this in person sometime in the not too distant future.
Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you for everything you guys did.
Thank you for having us, guys. Seriously, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And obviously, I guess one last thing, our doors are always open. So if you have thoughts, if you have things you want to discuss, if you have news you want to share, please never hesitate to reach out to any member of the board.
Yep.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you.
You guys. Bye.
Here you all.
Thank you.
Hello again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all right. How are you?
Well, I just have like 3 computers up right now so I can have the motions and the agenda and, just normal times.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. You should start a hedge fund.
I'm not even using Darren's big screen that's behind all this. I just had to hijack his office. So
Nice. Very nice.
Chris told me earlier I was not muted, and that might have been the time that I kicked my water over. So apologies if I said anything I shouldn't have.
We didn't catch anything.
Oh, good. How are you, Brian?
I'm good. How's everybody?
Doing all right.
Good. Does anybody know, does this work best when you're on mute and less talking, or does that affect the performance at all?
I think mute until you're talking is easiest, but
Yeah, if you, just so everybody knows, we are still streaming live under the last link, so that's still going. Yeah, it tends to work better if you mute yourself until you're ready to talk. That'll keep your picture from popping up in front of whomever's speaking. And because the way it's set up is whoever has the sound is what shows up on the screen.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Sorry for popping into the previous meeting. I didn't realize.
That's all right. It's a public meeting.
I was awfully surprised, I can tell you that. Oh my God, how did that get there? Oh my.
That's great. Our students are awesome. They blow me away every time. They've got a lot of poise and they're mature beyond their years. And not just that group, but that group in particular is pretty outstanding too.
Yeah, that's great.
It was neat to hear what they've been up to, how they're spending their time.
Yeah.
And to hear that their positivity was really great.
Yeah, no, it's an impressive bunch for sure.
Let's see.
Hey, I'm just testing my audio. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Grab a pen really quickly. then we'll get started. Okay. Okay. So it looks like we have quorum. Should I go ahead and let this baby rip? All right. Good evening. It is 6:30. This is the streamed online meeting for both the Board of Education meeting of 4/27/20 and the student fees public hearing, which will precede that, also April 27th, 2020. Hello, Molly. Has the meeting been posted and the agenda made available to the public in accordance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act?
Yes, it has.
Thank you very much. And as required by law, a current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall at the entrance door to the meeting room at the ABC building and is also posted on the district website. Molly, if you would please take the roll.
I will. Miss Blakely,
Yes.
Mr. Yale,
Yes.
Miss Carnes,
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer,
Yes.
Miss Morissette,
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder,
Yes.
Well, with everybody here, the next item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kind of like that that's still in the agenda. So we're going to get started with the student fees public hearing, but just very briefly, I'm going to explain the order of events here. First off, we will hear descriptions of any student fee changes and a review of the student fee policy from Bob Zagozda. After that, Board of Education members may ask questions or make comments regarding the student fees. And subsequent to that, members of the public have the opportunity to ask questions or make comments. For this comment period tonight, if you have a question or a comment, how we want you to conduct this is you should, as soon as you have that question or comment, email Dr. Lucas, and that is lucas.mike@westside66.net. Ask your question or make your comment, and then once we have completed the board member question and comment, we will address any emails that Dr. Lucas has received and give our staff and or board the opportunity to address those comments from members of the public. So with that, Bob, why don't you take it away and the rest of us will sit and listen.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to try to share that second page of the handout. Can you see that? I can't tell. Is it up there? Perfect. All right, good. Okay, so we'll walk through the changes in policy 6340 for this coming school year. There are no changes in transportation rates in this particular year. The elementary section on transportation has been removed because we don't have any paid elementary routes any longer. At the elementary level, the school instrument usage fees, we're adjusting percussion to be equal to the other fees. This has been in the works for a while. In the last 2 years or so, if you'll recall, the music department at the elementary level has been kind of trying to standardize their fees across, to make them somewhat comparable to the way that the middle school and the high school does that. And so they're standardizing their fees. And so percussion is going to increase to what a regular student instrument usage fee is. Part of that goes into a fund that they're using to maintain these instruments, and that fee will help to do that. This applies to the extracurricular and optional courses. And we also added some language that indicates that instruments may be available from the middle school or high school after the middle school or high school kids are outfitted with their instruments. So, and you'll see similar language in the middle school section for that same thing at the high school. This is a school lunch a year where we normally do school lunch prices every other year. Last year we had a very small increase because we had a change in our milk contract, and so we needed a small increase. This is a normal year, so elementary school lunches are going up 10 cents this year. Again, at the middle school, the percussion fee is going to be standardized with the instrument fee at $110. Applies to extracurricular and optional courses. High school instruments may be available depending on what high school students pick. They're increasing the charge for the musical from 60 to 65. Breakfast at the middle school goes up a nickel and lunch goes up 15 cents. High school, there is now a fee for all state music auditions. There is a purchase of marching shoes for the marching band is now required. The cabaret t-shirt is going from $5 to $10. All state choir has both an entry fee and an audition music fee. And for all show choirs, they're adding a leotard for the women's uniform requirement. And the men will now have to purchase a rehearsal shirt and dance shoes. Activity passes for home athletic events are moving from 35 to 50. I think last year that addition was proposed and we decided to wait a year, if I remember correctly. Girls soccer summer sports camp is going down in price. Tom Kirkman said that some of the coaches got together and decided that that the price for that could be reduced this year. Section 13 in the fee policy on musical instrument optional courses at the high school is being deleted because it no longer applies per Tommy Kruger. Breakfast at the high school is going up 10 cents, and the tiered lunches at the high school are going up 10 cents also. The high school has a couple of new fees. Mu Theta Alpha has a chapter fee that they're initiating this year. And the National Speech and Debate Association, there's now an induction fee at the national organization. The Student Council, they have a membership fees, which includes a t-shirt and a teamwork activity. In dual enrollment, the first 5 transcripts for dual enrollment are free. After that, the transcripts are $5 for anything after that. And then there's a new boys and girls cross country camp that the fee will be $50, and that is a new camp this year. As part of this, I'd also like to remind you that the student fee fund budget this year is $90,000. Revenue through March is $4,375. The way we use up that money is by transferring expenses from the general fund to the student fee fund to match whatever revenue that we have. And that's usually done in late August when we're sure that we have collected all the student fee revenue that there is. That's all that I have on that. trying to.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Are there any questions or thoughts from the members of the Board of Education? Go ahead, Beth.
Bob, real quick, and I know I think we've talked about this in the past. With the instrument rental, is that something that is able to be flexed for free and reduced kiddos?
Yes. Yeah.
And is it reduced a little bit, or is it reduced 100%, or does it depend on the situation?
Depends on how far into the scale they go, but for free, it's free.
Thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing no further questions nor comment from the Board of Education, I would entertain comments from the public. Mike, have you received any emails?
No, sir. No emails.
Okay. So hearing no further from members of the board nor from the public, we will move on with our agenda of the general meeting, and we'll be done with student fees for the evening. And so the first item of business there is I would seek approval of the minutes from the Board of Education meeting held on April 13th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any further comments? And if not, I would ask Molly that you please take the roll.
Yes. Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next item up for bid is communications. So whoever is administering the communication section, please take it away.
Well, we don't have any communications this evening.
All right.
Adam, I can touch on that really quick.
Sure, please.
Brandy Paul had some unplanned dental work done today, so we don't have a formal communications report, but working with Brandy and I have been meeting virtually with high school administration on Thursdays to continue to work on our virtual graduation plans if in fact we need to go that route. And Brandy continues to reach out to parents of seniors to help with any questions they might have to prepare for that virtual ceremony. So we're also in the midst of getting out information to students and staff tonight and or tomorrow about what teacher and checkout will look like in May and student checkout, check-in, and materials will look like. So lots of communication, but we don't really have a communications report for you tonight.
Fair enough. That is good. We've gotten lots of really positive feedback about our communications in general lately. So it is good to hear that those critical items are continue to be in process. So thank you. We will move on to new business. We have some board policies for review: 1155, 1250, 1220, and 4601. Anybody want to lead us off, please?
I would be happy to. Can everybody hear me and see me?
Yes. Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Good.
Hello, everybody. Tonight, we, as part of our ongoing process, have a number of policies to bring to you for a first reading. The first two are on the same topic. They are policy 1155, Board of Education vacancies, and policy 1250, attendance at meetings. And the under Nebraska statute, it provides the situations where a vacancy is declared on a school board. And that could be resignation, it could be death, it could be ceasing to be a resident, or it could be failure to attend board meetings without being excused by a majority of the remaining members of the board. So in policy 1155, the first paragraph has been added or revised to track with statutory language and to also be consistent with that same language that's also in policy 1250. The fifth paragraph in policy 1155 is to track with a change in statute whereby if you do have a vacancy and the board does appoint a new member, now that new member's term will last as long as the original member who vacated their seat. So if somebody leaves in year 1 or 2, they've got 4 or 5 more years to serve. Previously, they went at the next caucus regardless of when the vacancy occurred in the term. So this makes it a little easier. Whatever at whatever point a seat becomes vacant, the appointee serves for the remainder of the term. So that is 1155. And then 1250, again, is just to track with the way the statute reads. So cross references have been added in both policies to the other to make clear that there's one policy on attendance and there's one policy on what happens if there's a vacancy for whatever reason. Could be many reasons. So any questions on that?
Okay, I should know this, but do we as a board determine whether an absence is in fact excused based upon what we know about the absence? So it's up to 5 members of the board about the 6th member's absence.
Right. The way we would start doing it is to, at the beginning of the meeting, or at some point at the beginning of the meeting, mention it, and it would be by vote.
Okay. So we'll just have to make a note somewhere in wherever we make these notes that excused absence does not require board vote approval.
It does require the board to vote rather than one person, such as the board president, declaring that yes, it's excused or not excused. It's a decision of the group.
So that would be a change from how we've been handling things thus far.
It would be a change in the procedure. Currently, 1250 does talk about that, unless excused by a majority of the remaining members of the board. So we want to make sure we're consistent with policy and statute and start doing it by a vote.
Well, that's going to get exciting.
Yeah, and there are most boards do take individual role on this, and there's actually a case about 2 hours west where a board member was just removed by his colleagues for not meeting the attendance requirement of the statute.
So it's on a case-by-case basis. If it becomes an issue, we'll take a look at it.
Gotcha.
That may be a good discussion to have in an upcoming board retreat, just to kind of go over maybe a protocol of what we think. I mean, I know you can't come up with something for every circumstance, but I can certainly see and this board has no problem with this. I think we've had stellar attendance and engagement, but it's not always like that. And so it would be nice to have a conversation around the generals of that.
Agree.
And Allison, there hasn't been any recent change in the law itself, right? These aren't any statutory changes yet.
Correct.
think we baby stepped into this a little bit though, Dana, because I think this was something that started when we were first on the board about acknowledging unexcused absence. We didn't even acknowledge it before if it was excused or unexcused.
That's right.
Yeah, so it just makes sense to continue to do it, especially as some of the legal pieces have been demonstrated.
Well, and there's just a lot of responsibility for engagement with this position and to be making your priorities around being involved in the meetings and in the decisions. So
Certainly the legislature thought it was important that board members do attend board meetings if they're elected to that position.
Very good. Are there any further questions or discussion on this matter, or shall we move to 4601? Allison, I think that's tacit approval to move to 4601.
I have, let's see, I have 1220 is next, but I can do 46.
Oh, please do 1220.
Okay. Board policy 1220, public meetings, again, just some minor revisions to the provisions on how public meetings are run, and in particular on page 2, notification to the public. We typically give our notice of board meetings on our website, or we have the option for publishing. I believe it is a good idea for a board to have multiple ways to give notice in the unlikely event that the website would go down or a newspaper wouldn't be published. So we've added a third way. It's almost a throwback way, but one way would be to put notices on the doors of buildings that a public meeting was being held. I wouldn't foresee the board would do this unless the internet is out and the World Herald is out. But as we've seen, unexpected things can and do happen, so it's better to be prepared and have it available if need be. On page 3, it goes without saying, but in policy we say it, but the boardroom at the ABC building is the designated traditional meeting place. That becomes important if you have an issue of, is a location large enough to hold an expected crowd? And typically, if you are having it at your designated traditional meeting space, then that will be determined to be sufficient. Then finally, we do minutes electronically. And we do, I'm sorry, did someone have a question?
Oh yeah, this is Chris. I was just asking, so is the only place that we publish notice on our website right now? We don't publish it in a newspaper or anything?
We haven't for years.
Good to know. Thank you.
We could, but we feel that the public is more inclined to know about our board meetings by seeing it prominently on our website than in the legal notices section of the World Herald, which many lawyers, of course, read, but really nobody else.
I agree.
We do maintain our minutes as an electronic record. If you or anybody, a member of the public, want to see the minutes of a prior meeting, they are available on our website under the Board of Education tab. Molly uploads or downloads or whatever it is every board meeting and all the supporting documents. So if you ever have a need to go back even years, or a member of the public asks for something from years back, you can scroll through and everything is on there available. It's really slick, and it's great to be able to just have that available to find fairly easily. Then finally, on this policy, we do have 10 days to, the public has a right to see minutes within 10 days after your meeting, even if they have not yet been approved. And so we do make those minutes available. However, we do make it clear that they're subject to change until finally approved by the board. I don't have anything else on 1220 unless there's any questions.
Okay.
Let me get to my. All right, finally, our new 4601 policy, and this is as a result of the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. These are two new leave provisions from the federal government. It's emergency FMLA leave and expanded paid sick leave. These two leaves went into effect in April, and we do have notices up in the buildings, and Dr. Schoenweis and the HR group have been active in getting this information, the DOL notices posted, so that as we start returning back, if staff are having issues with, particularly with childcare, with schools still being closed, that there are these two provisions available to our staff. We've created forms to go with them, and we are, like every other employer in the United States, working through the provisions and making sure that folks know what's out there for them.
Very good. Any further? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is Mike. I just want to thank Allison and Enid for their leadership on this with the policies and staying up on the FMLA, and not only doing that part, but then communicating that to our employees and being really available 24/7 to answer questions, because as you all know, there's a lot of uncertainty and fear out there about different things. So thanks to Allison and Enid.
So we'll be bringing all these back next time for approval.
Very good. Well, thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. Are there any questions or comments regarding any of these four proposed policy amendments and or new policies?
Allison, have there been questions from our employees about how new FMLA benefits augment what we already offer or what the law already provides? Or is this just an augmentation of what benefits are already available?
I've not received any. I don't know. Dr. Schoenweis?
No, to date, we have not had any questions. We've had everything posted and shared the information, but we have not had anyone need to take advantage of them yet.
All right. Hearing no other questions, thank you, Allison and Enid, and we will move on to the approval of compensation for non-negotiated employee groups, which I presume is Dr. Schoenweis again. Who's on mute?
This is Enid, not John. I think it shows up as John, and I'm not sure why, but this is my iPad, so you can tell we're both Westside folks. But I'm here to talk about the non-negotiated pay increases. Each year, we recommend a percentage base increase for our non-negotiated employees. We base these recommendations on the salary increases of other negotiated employee groups, as well as metropolitan area increases and supply and demand. So this year, we'll be making those recommendations for the 2021 school year. We are going to be recommending a 5% increase for current professional classified technology folks and a 4.7% for increase on the starting pay for those employees. 5% increase for our educational assistants and a 4.7% increase to their starting new employees. No change to Access 66 on-call, guest teachers, or part-time building service employees. A 3.5% increase on remaining current non-union employee groups, and a 3% to their starting wages for people who are starting, new employees. Increase for substitute classified employees will equal a new employee. So we'll bring them in and substitute at the starting rate. And a base increase of 2.5 to 2.75 for current administrators. So those would be the recommendations that we're making for the 2021 school year. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer those for you. If not, there are many motions and votes that the board usually just kind of runs through those as a list, as opposed to me reading them all, but I can do it however you guys would like to do it this evening.
Before we go there, I would just like to thank you, Dr. Schoenweiss, and the entire administration for several things. One is identifying areas of need and areas where we need to be more competitive so that we could hire and retain capable and caring staff, and that's really important. So thank you very much. And then two, I would say this year I am very appreciative of the quantification of the effects of those increases on the budget, and a look at how it affects the next year's budget, and sort of a think ahead. I think that was very helpful to board members, and allowed us to work within our framework of budgeting responsibly. But also, that was just valuable information for us to have. So thank you, everybody who played a role in that. That's really important, and it is a little bit different than it was in previous years, and I think for the better.
Our pleasure.
Okay, I do believe I would entertain motions for these approvals, and I think we have kind of a folks that are designated to make those motions in seconds. So
yeah, I believe the first motion is mine, Adam. So if we're okay to start, I will. For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 3.5% wage increase for all currently employed full-time 12-month professional classified staff. The starting base wage will increase by 3%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. If there is no further discussion, then Molly, please take the roll.
Yes. Let's see, Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Set.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. For the 2020-2021 school year, I move for to approve a 3.5% wage increase for all currently employed full-time 10-month professional classified staff. The starting base wage will increase by 3.3%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Conversation. Molly, please take the votes.
Yes. Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Krenzer. Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 5% wage increase for all currently employed 10 and 12-month professional classified technology staff. The starting base wage will increase by 4.7%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. If there is no further question or discussion, Molly, please take it away.
Yeah. Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Okay. For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 3.5% wage increase for all currently employed full-time 12-month administrative assistant staff. The starting base wage will increase by 3%.
Second.
Seconded. If there's no further conversation, Molly, please take the votes.
Yes. Dr. Van Gelder. Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Okay, for the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 3.5% wage increase for all currently employed full-time 10-month administrative assistant staff. The starting base wage will increase by 3%.
Been moved and seconded. Hearing no further discussion.
Yes. Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 5% wage increase for all currently employed educational assistant 10-month staff. Base wage will increase by 4.7%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. If there is no further discussion, then Molly, please take the roll.
Yes. Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 3.5% wage increase for all currently employed nurses. The starting base wage will increase by 3%.
If there is no further discussion, then Molly, please take roll.
Yes. Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve no change for currently employed or newly hired part-time building service staff. Increases will be based on an established performance review plan.
Anyone want to second that?
I think that's me. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Hearing no further conversation, Molly, please take it away.
Yes. Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve no change to the substitute guest teacher rate.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. If there is no further discussion, Molly, please take it away.
Yeah. Ms. Blakely. Yes. Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Ms. Carnes. Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Okay, for the 2021 school year, I move to approve no change to the Access 66 on-call rates.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. If there is no further discussion, Molly, please take the votes.
Yes. Mr. Yale.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve an increase to the hourly rate so it is equal to of the new starting base wage of each relevant group.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. There is no further conversation. Please take it away.
Yeah. Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Ms. Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 3.5% wage increase for all currently employed building service and nutrition service leadership. The starting base wage will increase by 3%.
It has been moved and seconded. If there is no further discussion, Molly, please take roll.
Yes, Mr. Krenzer,
Yes.
Ms. Morissette,
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder,
Yes.
Ms. Blakely,
Yes.
Mr. Yale,
Yes.
Ms. Carnes.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a 3.5 wage increase for all currently employed Access 66, Accompanist, Brailleist, and Transportation. Starting base wage will increase by 3%.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. If there is no further discussion, Molly, please take the votes.
Yes, Ms. Morissette,
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder,
Yes.
Ms. Blakely,
Yes.
Mr. Yale, Ms. Carnes,
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
For the 2020-2021 school year, I move to approve a base wage increase of 2.5% to 2.75% for currently employed administrators.
Has been moved and seconded. If there is no further conversation, then Molly, please take the roll.
Yes, Dr. Van Gelder,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Yale,
Yes.
Ms. Carnes,
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer,
Yes.
Ms. Morissette.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I
done.
appreciate that. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I'll go ahead and move to the personnel report if everyone is ready.
Please do.
I have the personnel. I have 3 probationary contracts and 3 resignations. So I'll be presenting parts 1 and 2 for recommending for approval.
I move for approval of the personnel report as presented by the administration.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Is there any further questions or conversation? Hearing none. Molly, please take it away.
Yes, Ms. Blakely,
Yes.
Mr. Yale,
Yes.
Ms. Carnes, Mr. Krenzer,
Yes.
Ms. Morissette,
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will turn now to the district promissory notes early redemption resolution. This is good news. Bob, why don't you take it away?
Actually,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take care of that. So
Apologies. Good evening, Brian.
hello. So yes, this is good news. So as you recall, we since learning community funding was ended, this is I think the 3rd year that we've actually issued tax anticipation notes due to our cash flow situation where we get the bulk of our funds in April and in August. And this year, based on what we've collected so far and our collections in April, we believe we'll be able to go ahead and pay off both the tax anticipation notes for the bond fund and for the general fund early rather than wait until the end of the year. I'll answer any questions, but that seems pretty straightforward.
I guess I have a somewhat related question. What do we know about collections in April so far?
They looked about 1% ahead of last year this time, which isn't bad, but overall throughout the year up to date, they've been running over every month. So it was good to see. You know, we still have a little uncertainty, obviously, through the summer and what the August collections will be, but the August collections wouldn't factor into a decision to pay back these TANs early or not. So, but it was encouraging that we didn't see a significant drop or anything like that in the April collection.
And that basically the March 31 collections were up 1% year over year.
So we haven't seen a big dip or anything like that.
That's not an insignificant data point.
Correct.
Is there any further questions or discussions regarding the redemption? Hearing none, I would entertain believed to be a motion unless it is technically a resolution.
I do believe it is a, well, yeah.
It is a motion, yeah.
Okay.
I move for approval of a resolution of the Board of Education of Douglas County School District 66, Westside Community Schools, in the state of Nebraska, authorizing the early redemption of the district's bond fund promissory notes, Series 2019B.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any further questions or discussions regarding this matter? If not, Molly, I will ask you to please take roll.
Yes, Mr. Yale. Mr. Yale.
Oh, pardon me. I did not. Thank you. Yes.
Miss Carnes.
Yes.
Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Miss Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder. Miss Blakely.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, move on to the next one. I'm for the approval of a resolution of the Board of Education of Douglas County School District 6 Westside Community Schools in the state of Nebraska, the early redemption of the district's general fund promissory notes, Series 2019A.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Barring any further discussion, Molly, please take the roll.
Yes, Miss Carnes. Mr. Krenzer.
Yes.
Miss Morissette.
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder. Miss Blakely.
Yes.
Mr. Yale.
Yes. Okay. I believe then that we move on to the next agenda item, which is the approval of the bid for the UHS water source heat pump replacement project.
All right, that's me. Good evening, everybody.
Russ, how are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Phase 1 of heat pumps project. First, myself and Nate Sheets from Morrissey Engineering had a virtual pre-bid. Oh goodness, they call it a bid opening, where we did exactly what we're doing right now. We stole the format from the Board of Education, where we opened the bids. We had 5 local contractors bid the project at the high school. Prairie Mechanical was the lowest responsible bid. In your board packet, you should be able to see the 5 various bids. The various bids. There was a little bit of a jump between the lowest and the highest, but they were all pretty respectable, and they all came in significantly under the budgeted targeted price that we thought. We had a local contractor give us a quote in July, which is the number that we used to set the number for. And the bids came in significantly lower from that, which was really, really pleasant. So I'm asking, there's a recommendation for Prairie Mechanical to do the work, and I'm asking for your action to accept that recommendation. So are there any questions about the project?
Looks like this is a project that's going to be many years ongoing. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right now, we're looking at probably 4 to 5 years to do the project, and really more so just because in 15, 20 years, when we do replace this phase of the project, it's better to space them out as opposed to doing them all in 2 phases or 3 phases. We would be in the same boat that we're in right now, where the heat pumps are 20 plus years old because they were all installed in 1989 or 1998 and 1999. So we don't want to get into that situation. We want to stagger them out.
Very good. Pardon me. If there are no further questions or conversation, I thank you, Russ, and entertain a motion for the approval of the bid for the water source heat pump replacement project.
I move for approval of the bid received by Prairie Mechanical and as recommended by the administration for the water source heat pump replacement project to be completed at Westside High School.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. There is no further discussion. Then Molly, please take it away.
Yes, Mr. Krenzer,
Yes.
Miss Morissette,
Yes.
Dr. Van Gelder,
Yes.
Miss Blakely,
Yes.
Mr. Yale,
Yes.
Miss Carnes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. It appears as though we now move on to the reports section of this meeting. Would anyone like to provide a board member representation update?
I just wanted to say I got a chance to go up for part of that senior sign distribution last week, and that was so great to see that. I also didn't know that Lois Raskerchuk at the high school was responsible for the banner that hangs on the side of the high school, which I think is another awesome thing that is being done. And so thanks to everyone who had any involvement in the lights at the stadium Thursday nights, the senior yard signs, the banner, just trying to make this as much of a celebration for our students as possible is super meaningful, and I'm glad to be any part of it that I can.
Oakdale also has a banner up on the overpass. Sorry, Doug.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying that Oakdale also has a banner on their overpass. So it's those little things that make me smile. But I have to say, Dana, like walking through the neighborhoods and seeing all the signs, like I just want to go out and knock on doors and be like, you're awesome. Like, this is so cool. But so I appreciate the signs. It just kind of lets us take a moment and reflect.
My problem is I want to go up to the doors and give people a hug. So I have to not do that. But it is nice to see us trying to celebrate them in any way that we can. Yes, I'm a hugger.
Prairie Lane has a sign through plastic cups in the construction fence. So as we're learning how to play pickleball, we're driving by Prairie Lane quite a bit. And it made me smile, like Beth said.
My oldest was with me she's a Prairie Lane graduate, and I probably should have better prepared her for the construction scene over there. She was had not been over there in quite a while. So she was a little sad about her old school, but I assured her that a good part of it will remain and it'll be better than ever. So, but it was a bit of a shock to her. Shame on me for being callous about that.
We did just conclude prior to this board meeting, our student advisory board meeting, and we had 5 of our students in attendance this evening, giving their perspectives on how distance learning is going, how they're doing, how they are looking at the COVID-19 period of history, how they're spending their time, and it just reiterates what we see over and over with Westside students, which is they're thoughtful, they are poised, they're mature beyond their years, they have some fantastic ideas, and so we were taking a little bit of feedback on ways to maybe augment the activity that we started this year with Student Advisory Board for next year, and you know, they truly embody what is a pretty incredible student body, and they help make our district just a really fantastic place. So I am grateful to all those students that have participated, and really all the students that we've seen throughout the year that have done so many phenomenal things and represented their district so well and really carried themselves in ways that probably most of us as high schoolers would not have ever imagined. So they do a really fantastic job, and kudos to the class of 2020 and to all those other rising potential graduates in our system. You're doing a great job.
I am liking the social media stuff, even like with the kids that are going from 6th grade to 7th grade. So all the elementary schools have Facebook pages, and they've been doing 2 photos like we've been doing for our high school seniors. And there's a part of me that hopes some of this continues. I think that there's a lot of learning and opportunities from this moment in time. And that's one, I think it's just a nice way to celebrate the kids in our community, and it doesn't have to be just limited to their buildings, but really taking it to our community so our community can know what they do all the time when they support the levy override and the bonds and everything. It's like, this is more than, this is so much, this is our future. And so I have appreciated that the elementary school's taking the time to do that.
Very good. Okay, we will move on to legislative update. Does anyone have anything to report?
I've got one legislative thing and a few miscellaneous things, if that's okay.
Please.
So I talked to Sean Kelly, our lobbyist, continues to do a great job, work hard for us. It's unlikely that anything substantial comes out. In fact, state aid was certified late last week. And so our state aid for next year is going to be $19,752,224. That's up over 1.5 million from this current year, where it was $18,220,223. So that's good news. The even better news is that Brian, Gabriel, Bob, and I put together a revenue workbook back in November that we shared with you at our December retreat, if you'll remember, and we were talking about staffing and all kinds of things, and that 19.75 million of state aid for next year is $572,000 higher than what we showed you back in November, December, which is what enabled us to make the hiring decisions that we made, the raise decisions that you just made, and so on. So that's a good thing, and we're excited about that.
I would just like to compliment you, Dr. Lucas, and the finance team and the HR team. Budgeting has really changed this year. We've got more visibility. I think our assumptions have been appropriately conservative. It's kind of been, we've had a few economic tailwinds that have helped, but we have by and large been surprised to the upside, and that kind of visibility is a lot easier to work with than having to be behind the 8 ball late in the fiscal year. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Brian and Bob have done a great job with that. So the other stuff, I'll wait for announcements in case there's anybody else with legislative updates.
I think you may proceed.
Okay, so we broke I don't know if this is good or bad. We broke a student meals served record today through our food service department, over 14,000 meals. We had been serving pretty steady 12,000. So today, 1,400 students came through picking up 10 meals each. So Aaron Vick and the food service department continue to do great work. Our high school football team continues to volunteer at the middle school on Monday afternoons from 4 to 6 to pass out meals. We're going to continue that the next 3 Mondays, May 4th, May 11th, May 18th, same spots, same times. And then we're going to transition into summer mode the week of Memorial Day. So it'll look a lot like what we're doing. We just have to compartmentalize. So 3 more weeks of school year, food, going home, and then we'll do the exact same thing, but it'll be under our summer mode where the sites may change, but there will still be multiple sites, different times for families to pick up food. So just an update on that. We are planning one more staff and teacher meal giveaway on May 6th from 3 to 5 at Oakdale. So if any members of the board or senior leadership want to help pass out meals in a social distance manner to our amazing staff, we'll be at Oakdale from 3 to 5. Molly Hurley's going to facilitate some one-topping pizzas like we did a couple weeks ago, and we're excited to let our staff know about that on May 6th from 3 to 5. And
if you get there late, you only get cheese.
If you get there late, you only get cheese. That's right. They're still good. They're still good, and they're still free. So, but you're right. And then you'll notice we obviously didn't have any high school main gym air conditioning bids on the agenda for you for tonight. Virgil and Russ continue to work on that. And it's our hope at the May 11th meeting that we'll have some bids for you to consider for adding air conditioning in the main gym at the high school. The good news is it looks like the cost is going to be around $65,000 to $70,000, so even a little bit less than what we had thought. But we want to wait until we get locked in bids on that.
Thank you for those updates. The remaining announcements are that we have a May 11th, 2020 virtual meeting scheduled for the Board of Education. And we have a June 15th Board of Education meeting set for 6:30. And that one may be in person, it may be virtual. Stay tuned. Okay. Any other items? If not, I will adjourn at 7:31, and thank you everybody for your participation this evening. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good to see everyone.